Welcome to the Own It Powercast, the place to be when you get serious about making big changes and accelerating growth in your life and in your relationships. Finally create the life you've always wanted, living life on your own terms. Learn how to take your fear and turn it into powerful choices that will create sustained change. Now your host, Mary Baker.
Hey everyone, welcome to February and welcome back to the Own It Powercast, a place where you can come to get what you need to move yourself forward. This is Mary Baker and welcome to episode 32, Why Environments Matter. So this month we're going to talk about the old nature-nurture concept. You know, the idea that your environments, your personal environments, are so crucial for your well-being. And I think as a society, we are right here, aren't we? As we continue to feel the impacts of nature, like storms and natural disasters, and political and social storms. So I think this is a really good and timely conversation. The reason why I think our environments matter so much and really shape us is because of how our brain works. And we're learning so much more about how the subconscious mind is impacted. You've heard me talk about going back to childhood and see what shaped you, looking at what we're learning about PTSD and trauma. What we're understanding is the subconscious starts to believe what it sees and it hears and it experiences over time. We adapt. We are adapting. We adapt to our environments every day. So then it therefore makes sense that, especially if it's day in, day out, environmental stuff and there is no novelty, it's not brand new, we're not going to notice it. It's usually slowly over time. Okay? And so what I want to look at is, I don't care what we say, we just don't have the willpower to resist being influenced by, being impacted by our personal environments every day. So that's why I think they really, really matter. And it's something that I think in terms of empowerment, we really want to take a good look at and take responsibility for. Because your subconscious mind eventually believes what it absorbs. It takes in the vibe. Okay? And so I want you to think for a moment, what was your favorite vacation place to go to, or your weekend getaway spot, or some of your favorite moments over the years? Stop and think about, where was that? Who was there? What was it like? What were some of the elements that were involved? Like, were you at the beach? Were you taking a hike? Were you at a party? Were you visiting a brand new city or country? Where were you? And who was there? And what was the vibe like? And so think about why that was really cool for you. And as you listen to this episode, just pay attention to what matters to you. Pay attention to your own experiences. Try not to think of what other people would think. So we are usually taking the path of least resistance, and that's why we want to take a look at this. The other big thing is that we start to become more like our environments, even if we don't want to think so. So as motivational speaker Jim Rohn said famously, you are the average of the 5 people with whom you spend the most time. Whoa. That means you're the sum of the 5 people around you. Think about that for a moment. Think about people who you spend the most time with. Are they positive? Are they negative? Are they mature and happy and grounded and have their shit together? Or are they toxic? Are they depressed? Are they motivated? How do they talk to you? Do they challenge you, or do they allow you just to not create the life you've always wanted to create? You know, guys, my years of sitting with clients, I can't tell you the importance of environments, and the people in our environments are probably the most important aspect. And we will be devoting a whole episode on that this month because I think it deserves its own space. So, looking at the people around you is a big deal. Looking at the level of toxicity versus the level of healthy is what we're going to get into in that episode. And I don't want you to underestimate the impact. Typically, though, we don't recognize at first especially if someone seems really nice and they don't treat us badly. Again, the brain is not seeing novelty. Nothing's really sticking out like a sore thumb. It's going to be harder. Some stuff is a lot more insidious than we realize. So we want to take a look at that people are rubbing off on us as we are on them. And that's kind of a cool thing to look at in reverse. It's like, wow, what kind of environments are we creating for those that we love? So another aspect is, maybe your environment, there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe it's a great job. Maybe it's a wonderful relationship in a lot of regards, but it doesn't fit for you. And what I hear clients say all the time is it's a 3/4 fit. It's a 75% fit, but there are really important elements that might be missing, and it just doesn't feel right. See, it's a lot harder to walk away from something that meets most of your needs. A lot of people fear, well, will I find anything again? Will I find anything as good as this? And I'm not talking about being nitpicky and idiosyncratic. I'm talking about big elements. Like, what if you had a great paying job and the commute was short? Great benefits, right? Really liked your colleagues, but you were not being challenged and you were bored as hell. Not being challenged is a really big element, and we can only go so long before we notice it starts impacting us. So where you fit, if you feel like you're a fish on a bicycle, there's probably a good reason. I don't think we make this stuff up. So I want you to think about, where are the environments where you feel like you fit? Do you love the outdoors? Do you prefer indoors? Do you prefer the country to the city? Do you love the beach? Do you love the mountains? What about your workplace, right? What kind of environment feels right for you? Is it around a bunch of people? Are you very social, or would you rather work alone? Really think about what fits you and why, what you really enjoy, how that begins to make sense with the rest of what you understand about you. Don't question it. Just accept it. Kind of take some notes in your mind. Think about past moments. Think about places where you were and it felt great and why. Think about where you currently are. Is it meeting you? Does it feel like a right fit for you? And guys, sometimes you might know why. And sometimes you may not understand, and it's okay. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we begin to stop fighting where we need to be. Do the no wonder affirmations. No wonder I love being outside. Maybe some of your best memories as a kid were outdoors with your dad. So you have good feelings attached. The big part, though, that I want to talk about is, I think healthy environments are ones where you are getting needs met. Remember, we talked about needs. They're not wants, they're needs. And when we have our needs met, we just function so much better on so many levels. So there's different areas of needs, right? Like we've talked about before, your physical needs, your sleep. Do you have a comfortable bed? Is it an environment where you get enough sleep? Or are you being disrupted and disturbed, and are you uncomfortable? What about exercise? What about being fit? Is there a place to walk in your neighborhood? Can you go to the gym? Are you getting enough fresh air? Are you getting out enough? Are there places where you can feel calm and quiet and go have a respite? Do you have room to work? Right? Sometimes people's environments, whether it's their workspace or their kitchen, and it's really frustrating because you can't really be functional because there isn't enough room or it's just not laid out right. Another thing to think about, do you have enough privacy? Do you have places where you can go and be by yourself, even for an hour? New parents know what I'm talking about. Do you have time just for you to take a nap, take a bath, take a walk? Is there natural light? Is there comfort? Is there peace? And sometimes, aesthetics matter here too. Especially if you care about that. Is there beauty around you? Where are you? Where are you spending your time? makes a difference. What we visually absorb impacts us emotionally. We know that colors impact us emotionally, clutter impacts us emotionally and psychologically. Feeling stressed or unsafe in a space matters. The next area is emotional. Like, your environments are going to influence your mood. They're going to either provide motivation for you or not, provide hopefulness and feeling good about yourself or not, feeling like you have relationships where you connect on deeper, meaningful levels or not. So as you look at all these things, I just want you to continue to compare and contrast. What you know now is deemed healthier and what isn't and why. Worldview is a part of this too, and it's also a part of our psychological health. How you see the world is greatly impacted by those around you, or can be. Are they negative? Are they always talking about how other people are awful, or they're a mess and can't get their shit together? Or are they focused on themselves, and do they see the good in people as examples? What about how they see you and how you see yourself in their presence? Are they encouraging? Are they challenging you in loving ways? Do you get positive feedback? Do you get accurate feedback about yourself? Is there belongingness needs being met here? Sometimes we stay in relationships where we are not getting belongingness needs met. But we're so afraid of being alone, we stay and we settle. This could be a workplace group. This could be a romantic relationship or a friendship. Your family, your neighbors, could be any group here. What about cognitive? What about your brain? Like, are you in an environment where you're learning, especially if you love to learn? If learning matters to you, then you're going to want to be in environments where you can learn and grow and expand. And usually people like that like to talk about that stuff too. And they like to be around other people who are like-minded, who also like to learn. So like-minded people, a place to be challenged, a place to keep growing. If not, we often feel bored, we feel restless, we feel irritable, we can feel depressed because we're stagnating. And we know deep down we need to be somewhere different. And you're not a bad person if you need a different environment. And finally, spiritual. Like, being around other spiritually like-minded people can be really healthy for you. And do you have a place to go do that? Whether it's a place in your home where you sit and meditate and pray. Is it a part of your life? Maybe prayer is really important to you, but your family doesn't pray at dinner and you really wish we would. Those kinds of things. Where are your friends? Do you have people around where you can explore these things with? Sometimes we solve that by joining a group or a book club or something like that, where we can hang out with people and talk about this stuff who are on the same plane. So getting needs met really, really matters. I think, again, sometimes we don't recognize when our needs are unmet, or we don't understand that maybe at the core that's what's going on, even though our symptoms on the surface may look very different. It is something really key to take a look at. It's really important. Another reason why environments matter, a very obvious one, is your stress level. If you're living or working in an environment where there aren't great boundaries, I can pretty much guarantee you your stress level is higher than it should be. Chronic stress is not good. It is not good for us mentally, emotionally, or physically, and we know that now. If you're in an environment, you probably have more than one. If you're attracted to one, usually have others in your life where there are poor boundaries, you're not going to feel safe because there isn't trust. And there's usually, therefore, a lot of conflict, a lot of chaos. Things aren't very settled. It's not very calm. And this creates anxiety, right? And it can create depressive symptoms in someone as well. And it can kill motivation. So really taking a hard look at your environments if your stress level is high. The other thing I really want to talk about here is it's normal and expected that as you grow, As you grow as a person, as you grow, you will outgrow. You raise the bar for what you want and need in your life. What you know now that you truly deserve, and what you can no longer tolerate. And if you think about it, the episodes thus far, we've been talking about all that stuff, right? But it's something I think that clients usually get really confused about and upset about. And they're like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, if I told you that if you got healthier and worked on yourself, that you would have to walk away from some situations and people in your life, would you have done it? Probably not. Not yet. This can be really hard because you're probably still struggling to trust yourself that this is okay and it's a normal thing and you're not a bad person and you're not awful and you're not selfish, because you just can't hang out with that person anymore because you just feel like you have less and less in common with them. It's scary to accept the unknown. Well, if I let go of them, then what? Well, there's some hallway time. You might be a little lonely for a little while until healthier people come along. Change is loss. And change means letting go. It means surrendering to the process instead of controlling it. We usually want to control it because we want to say, okay, I'm getting healthier and I want everyone to get healthier right alongside me at the very same pace I am, so I don't have to grieve. So I don't have to experience loss and unearned guilt. But you know you won't grow if you stay. You won't grow if you stay. And you can't unring that bell. When we do enough work on ourselves, we reach a point of no return. And often it is very sad. When I work with relationships, I tell people, be very careful what you ask for, because if they get healthy and you don't work on yourself, they're going to need to leave. They're not going to want to sometimes, but they may need to. And finally, you will meet with resistance, right? First, you're going to meet with resistance, aka your own fear. You're going to try to talk yourself out of things. You're going to stop and you're going to start. You're going to stop and you're going to start. When you're ready, you'll be ready. And maybe your first item on the to-do is to work through your resistance. Maybe that is in your way first. I'd be worried about you if you weren't resistant, because I think that's more real. Change is lost. We got to let go of the old, and we go kicking and screaming. The other part of resistance is other people's fears. Their fear of you changing, because they know deep down if they don't change as well, or if they're not ready to, they might lose you, or at least it's going to change the look of your relationship with them. Toxic people, which we will get into in that episode coming up, oh boy. They know deep down you will not stay if you get healthier and have healthier environments around you, which is why they will try to control all of those, run off your friends and your family, become your end-all be-all so that you don't have the exposure to healthier, to see what you really deserve. So usually that's when it can get scary for people sometimes when they start working on themselves, because the toxic person in their life will start ramping it up. People who cannot let go and grow themselves are going to have a harder time encouraging and allowing you to grow. Okay? So environments are shaping us, whether we recognize that or not. And I think that a big part of empowerment is really taking personal responsibility for who and what we place around us. You know, whatever is within our control. We can't blame them or it if we're not happy. Now, of course, some environments are easier and quicker to change than others. You can work on your physical environment a lot quicker, maybe go for a walk, this or that, or eat better before maybe you can buy a house in a different neighborhood, because you need different people to hang around. Everything's a process, but I think what matters here is just really owning that you want to gradually move everything toward alignment. Remember, we talked about alignment. Things that make sense, things that align with you and what you value and who you are, so that you can have peace with yourself. Okay? And I finally want to make a note that, especially if you grew up in a home where you kind of lost yourself or people didn't let you honor what you wanted and needed and liked and didn't like and loved the beach, hated the mountains, that kind of thing, it's going to be that much harder for you to not be influenced by the slow adaptation to what and who is around you. You're not going to see it as quickly as someone who didn't lose their self growing up or didn't just come out of a horrific manipulative relationship. So know that too. And also, if you are noticing some toxic environments around you, it takes time to heal from that stuff and get back to who you are. So just some notes on that. Okay, what I would like to do here is do a brief guided meditation. If you are driving, if you're walking, if you're jogging or doing something, you may want to play this part back later to where you can sit and close your eyes and meditate. But even if you can't, just imagine, just see what pops up in your heart and your mind. It's all good. If you want to journal about this, I think that is a really cool thing to follow up this episode with. And if you're in a place where you can sit and close your eyes, that's groovy too. So get grounded and centered for a moment. Take a big deep breath and let it out. So I just want you to take a few moments and dream. So the first thing we want to do is describe your dream house, where you've always wanted to live. See it in your mind's eye. Where is it? What is it constructed of? How big is it? What color? What kind of lot does it sit on? Where is it in the world? Is it in a neighborhood? Is it in a city? Is it out in the country? Is it in the woods? Is it on the beach? What's the climate like where your beautiful home is? Go inside that house. Start looking at where are all the rooms and how is it decorated? What's the vibe inside your home? How big is your home? Is it open and airy? Is it quiet and cozy? What are the objects in that home that you love? Maybe certain rooms that you would just love to have for good reason. Some people like to have a cozy fireplace. Other people want an indoor theater area. You love this place. And you stand there for a moment just taking it all in. It's perfect and it matches who you are. Who is in this home with you, or do you live alone? And if there are people there, who's there and why? Who'd you love to be there? It's okay, whatever comes up is what's supposed to here. Do they love being there too? Okay, so now you have to go to work, or do you? Are you working? And do you go somewhere to work, or do you work from home? What kind of work are you doing today? Is it your dream work, your purpose? You're so happy with the work that you do. Are you driving there? So if you drive to work, what are you driving and why? If you could drive anything you wanted to, what kind of vehicle would that be? What color? Or maybe you're walking to work. And if you are, what is the scenery like? Do you walk alone? Do you walk with someone else? Do you ride your bike? Hell, do you ride your skateboard? What are you doing? And whatever you want to do is fine. When you get to work, what kind of workplace is it? Is it an office? Is it a huge building? Is it a small place? What is it? And who is there? Are there a lot of people or just a few? What would you prefer? Are you one of the workers? Are you a manager? Or are you the big boss? Is this your company or someone else's? Why does this work matter to you? And what kind of work vibe is there? Okay. So now I want you to think about, who are your friends in this life? Who's around? Do they live close by or are they far away? What kind of things do you like to do on the weekend? Are you alone? Are the people there? Why or why not? Who's there? Here you can put real people in your life, or you can imagine the type of people you want to have there too. You can dream whatever you want to dream. Just trust what comes up. Okay, what about you physically? How is your physical body doing? Is it healthy? Are you happy with it? What does it look like? How do you feel physically? What about emotionally and mentally? How are you feeling? As you think about all these things here, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And finally, what is next on the radar? You have your dream home, your dream job if you're working, or your dream retirement if you're not. Your dream people are in your life and you're doing things that you love. What might be next? And just trust whatever comes up. Okay. So that guided meditation is one that I adapted from one that I'd heard years ago. And what I heard was, if you do this meditation early and often and just trust what you visualize, that you will be drawn towards creating the life that you really want. In other words, for some reason, this works. It also asks you very quickly, where is this? What is this? I didn't give you a lot of time to think because I didn't want you to think. I wanted you to just tap into your core truth that has always been there. All right, so today we explored the concept of environments. We talked about your physical, your emotional, your psychological, your cognitive, and your spiritual spaces that you are immersed in each day. We talked about how it's so crucial to take a long look at each area and see just how healthy they are and if they're a good fit for you. In the next few episodes, we will take a deeper look at some of these that I think matter the most from working with people over the years. So as you go through the month, I want you to just take stock. If you're not ready to change anything, that's okay. It's all good. You're just taking responsibility for your life. And that's what this podcast is all about. All right. So if you're already a subscriber and signed up for the Tribe News, you'll get an email to you automatically. If not, if you're just joining us here, welcome to the Tribe. Go to ownitpowercast.com. Click on the show notes and you can sign up there and you'll get the newsletter every Tuesday. There you can access each episode if you want to. And if you want to get the bonus downloads for a lot of the episodes, that is where you can find them. And you can find them in past issues as well, which is really cool. All right. So if you found this helpful, let me know. Go to the website, ownitpowercast.com, and email me. I'd love to hear from you. Especially, I'd love to hear how this podcast is helping you. All right, so thank you for joining me today. Keep paying it forward. Keep focusing on you.
We hope you took away some useful insights and tools you could begin using right away. If you did, please leave a positive review and share on your social media. Because could you imagine if everyone in your life really got it together? Remember, own it now, so you can really own it later.